Okay? But these are just more examples now of APY, as we call it, annual percentage yield. Okay? So I just put the formula up here, and here we're doing some other examples. So for instance, let's calculate this for an account, and it's paying 12% compounded daily. Okay? Compounded daily. Well, again, it's just that formula, right? Which is up here. We have 1, wait, let me get the laser. 1 plus r over n to the n minus 1. See? And you know, if we calculate it, you can see that we actually get this. Then we convert it to a percentage, and we get this. Okay. And here, all I did here was I just basically considered, okay, well, what would happen if it was actually $1,000? In other words, let's say our principal was $1,000. Well, then after a year, by direct calculation, you would have this amount. Well, let's calculate the percent increase. That's what I'm doing here. The percent increase. It's very close to what I have here. I mean, the only difference comes about because of rounding. So it is very close to this formula. Even though the principle doesn't come into play in the formula, I just wanted to confirm it just to see what would happen, you know, for fun. Okay, so that's an example. Okay, let's do some others. Here we go. So this is another example that I want everyone to try out. So basically now you're going to calculate the APY for each of these accounts, which was basically from before. Again, it's only for a year. And I put the APR here from before. I want everyone to calculate these right now. Take about like 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, let me just pause the recording. Okay, you know, I want everyone to. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so this is what we get. Again, you know, it's just that formula from before, 1 plus r over n to the n minus 1. So in the first case, for annually, right, we actually do get just the 5%. Okay? And that's really no accident. I mean, if you look at the formula and replace n by 1, you're just going to get r back. So, you know, that's good to know. If you think about the definition of APR, that's really what you would expect then. So, okay, all right. With quarterly, you know, in that case, your n is 4. And so in that case, you would have this. Your n is 4, right? So this is a calculation. And then I convert it to a decimal. But you can see as n gets bigger, the APY goes up, meaning your percent increase, the percent in the percent increase in the account balance goes up as well. Okay. So monthly, that's when n is 12, as you can see. And this is for daily. Okay, so this is what we get. I hope everyone got these numbers as well. We can also do this. This is just a backup one in case, you know, I had time, so I do. So let's do some more time here. So let's say we deposit, $23,000 in an account. We want to know how much, we want the value of the investment. That is how much is in the account 10 years later in these different situations. Okay, so let me just go through them. Okay, so again, in either case, P sub 0, right? Wait a minute. Okay, sorry, wrong one. P sub 0 in either case is, the what do you call it? The principal, the initial balance, the initial amount, excuse me. So we get $23,000, right? That's how much is going into the account. R, the APR is 0.07, it's 7%, but we write it as a decimal. T is 10 years later. So this is what our balance, so this is how much will be in the account 10 years later for different N. For N, in terms of N. So now we calculate it for different N. N is 1, right? It's compounded only once a year. So we end up with this amount. If N is, if it's compounded monthly, 12 months in a year, right? So it's 12. So we get this amount. Daily, 365, right? As before, N is 365, we get this, right? And then I threw in simple interest as well. Notice capital I, right? We get this amount. And then the total amount we get is this. So I want to say simple interest, you'll earn at least. And the most you'll earn is from compounding continuously. Okay, so that's just an example I felt better doing. Let me see. I think I have another one we can do. Oh, I do. Okay. Let me see. Oh, sorry. For some reason I thought I had a continuous compounding one here. So, well, that's all right. Okay, so we have this one. Let me just check to see if everyone got these numbers. So we had that example. So did you get these numbers? I just want to make sure everyone is on track. So that's why I'm doing this. Looks like people did. I'm asking because, with the calculator, if you're not careful, you could get the wrong answer, even though you have the right idea. So that's why I like to have people show their work, because, if the final answer is wrong, but they show the correct work, they'll get almost all the credit. So that's why I hate giving exams through Lumen Learning, but what are you gonna do? Let's keep going. Let me do one more example. Okay. No, wait, what am I doing? Okay. So here's another one. I threw in there, we'll calculate the APY as well, okay? Semi-annually is twice a year. So in that case, your N would be 2. So, I mean, if you want, you can think of it as every 6 months. Okay. So for this one, let's do this one. Okay. So if we were to use this, again, it's just based on the formula, right? The 1 plus R over N to the N minus 1. And this is what you would get, the percent increase, as you can see. Okay. So in the first case, you get about, you get the, what do you call it? You get almost the APR back, right? In that case, let me make it bigger. That is, in the first one here, your R, right, is 3.6%. So I converted it to a decimal by moving the decimal 2 spaces to the left, right? 1 plus that over 12 to the 12 minus 1, okay? And that calculation gives us this number, which is 3.66%. And here it's the same idea, 1 plus this over 2 squared, right? Twice a year, and is 2. Of course, your R is different. So we get about 5.88%. And this is daily. That's over here. But with 4.7%. But I'm pretty sure the APR will always be less than the APY. I'm pretty confident that's always going to happen. So I was going to say also, you could actually get the APY for continuous compounding. It's really not that hard to do, actually, but I decided not to do that. So, all right. Okay, I mean, that is all I have. I mean, I could, I guess, start chapter 6, but I think it might be better if I just wait on that. So let me stop the recording.